Hello and welcome. My name is Raven DeVaughn, Director of the Illinois Department of Central Management Services. 2026 marks 100 years of the formal celebration of Black History Month. In 1926, scholar Carter G. Woodson began celebrating Negro History Week as a commitment to acknowledging the vast contributions of Black people to America, and really, the world. Today, we celebrate Black History Month because a movement championed by President Gerald Ford enhanced the formal celebration from a week in February to the entire month. Though we all know Black history is American history, for a people whose contributions are often overlooked, I proudly celebrate the intricate history of a peoples whose impact is woven into the very fabric of our nation. In celebration of 100 years of Black History Month, I am absolutely honored to sit in conversation with one of Illinois' finest sons and an absolute history maker. Illinois' first Black Speaker of the House of Representatives, Emanuel Chris Welch. Speaker Welch, thank you for being here with us. Thank you for coming to celebrate. Speaker, you are a history maker, and this year marks 5 years of you being Speaker of the Illinois House of Representatives. I'm a betting woman, so I would say when you were born, you did not think, hey, I'm gonna go be Speaker of the Illinois House of Representatives, but here you are. You're so many things to people. You are certainly a public servant. You are a son, a father, a husband, a mentor, a fraternity brother. Tell us a bit about your journey, who you are and how you got here.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. First of all, to celebrate 100 years of Black History Month, I like to say a month is great, but it's not enough because we live Black history every day.
Absolutely.
And you and I are both examples of that. And it's truly an honor to celebrate 5 years as Speaker, the first Black Speaker, as we are celebrating 100 years of Black history. It's truly been the honor of a lifetime. And it was not on my bingo card. I always said, I'm gonna play for the Chicago Cubs, I'm gonna be a trial lawyer and try these great cases and make a lot of money. But being a Chicago Cub didn't work out. Turned out I'm the first Black Speaker of the House. And it really has been the honor of a lifetime. And it's because my colleagues saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. I'm thankful that they did. I think in the last 5 years, we have really done some great things and moved this state forward. But certainly I couldn't do it without the support of my wife and my kids and the family, because it takes all of us when we're in roles like this to be successful.
Absolutely. And I want to say thank you for being consistent, because who you are on the floor is who you are in person, in real life, whether or not it's with your constituents or it's with other parts of our ecosystem to make Illinois better. Sitting on the agency side, you have always said, Director, what can I do to help? And that is a key marker of a great leader, and probably why your colleagues saw in you the ability and the absolute aptitude to be an amazing speaker and represent them. And I mean that very sincerely. Black History Month invites us to think about lots of things, certainly the past, the future, our present. When you think about leadership in the broader sense, in the continuum of Black leadership, particularly in Illinois, what do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah. I stepped into this role following someone who was the longest speaker in the history, not just of our state, but in the country. Previous speaker was speaker for 36 years, state representative at the time for 50 years. Literally took the oath of office a month before I was born.
Wow.
And the leadership style was very different. Times were different, styles were different. And I think first and foremost, I do believe when I'm in a role like this, when I leave this role, I want them to say, I did it my way. I didn't try to imitate anybody, I did it my way. What you said earlier, I truly try to be myself every day, whether in private or public. I am who I am. And in my leadership style, I try to make that show. And to me, I do believe that when you come from a community like mine that's been underserved and not heard, overlooked, I want to lead and let people know that they're being heard, that they're being seen. We see you, we hear you, your voice matters. With me in a room, I'm bringing you in that room with me, right? That's what I want people to say when they're talking about me, is
Sure.
he represented us.
I often say, I am who I am, and I can be only who I am.
That's it.
But I would offer, framing it differently, authenticity is a superpower, and not a lot of people are able to stand fully in their greatness and their areas of opportunity. But when you do that, there is a level of leadership that you spread, and you don't even know it, because in you being you and authentically you, that allows other people to be them. It also frees people to empower others and to serve in a modeling way. And it's not easy always, but I understand the import of being authentic, because a lot of people, they get in these roles for what it can do for them instead of allowing them to be the tool that opens the doors for everyone else.
That's right.
So your vision for tomorrow, what might be your vision for Illinois, for your district, and honestly for our country? Because we are in a time.
We're certainly living in a time, but my vision definitely for a time such as this, and I tell our caucus all the time that we should always play an infinite game. And I like to give them books. I'm constantly giving them books. And one of the books I gave them was the book, The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. And it talks about an infinite game versus a finite game. A finite game is like a sport, baseball, basketball, golf, pick it. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. At the end, typically somebody wins or loses. You play that finite game with a finite mindset. I want to win. I'm getting in this game because I want to beat you. It's very different when we're playing an infinite game. An infinite game is something that's going to go on and on and on long after the players are gone. The players are going to change, but the game is going to keep going on. There's going to be another director of CMS. There's going to be another Speaker of the House. And the state of Illinois is going to go on for another 207 plus years or more. And so while we're here, what I want to do is, how do we make Illinois better? How do we leave it better than how we found it? That's the mindset we have to walk into our offices with every single day, is how do we leave it better for the next person? And I think if we get better each day, 365 days of the year, we're enormously better than we were at the start of the year. And that's how I live life every day. We're playing an infinite game. I have to remind our members every day, these bills that we're filing, the laws that we're passing, how does it impact someone's life? If it's going to make us better, I'm all for it.
You know, I just, now I understand why the Black Caucuses, one of the themes was infinite. It was something infinite a couple of years ago. Something that I have picked up from you that I've noticed, you seem to have a theme each year.
I try.
And you're loud and proud about your theme and public about it, and that allows everyone to reframe and march in a particular direction. So much so I do that with my staff. Each year at the top of the year, I give them the theme of what I want us to look like.
I try to have the themes build on each other.
Sure.
They're all like interconnected. You know, coming from someone that was in leadership for so long, for 36 years, and his style was so different, I have to be different. And I have to inspire them. I have to get them there. I can't walk in the door and say, this is what you're doing, this is how you're going to vote. That's not my style anyway. Part of using themes, part of giving them books is I know where I'm trying to go. And so I want to help get them there on their own just by providing them with a little material.
First of all, that's an amazing compliment, and I hope you internalize it and always go back to that to remind you on those hard days that somebody else understands my why. And I use that because I have heard so many folks around Springfield and around the state ask what's their why. And they were not doing that before that was one of your themes.
That was our very first one.
And it resonates. So I'm talking across the aisle, agency side, Gov's office, you don't know the power of that one question because it continues to resonate. And I think it is in the ethos of so many folks who are now trying to row in the right direction, in part probably because you are inspiring and you're asking a question and not dictating what the process will be. I can say from my perspective, I see a legislature that is much more collaborative, and much more open to a discussion. It does not feel like the decision is already made, and certainly that's a credit to your leadership, and certainly how you work with your partner in the Senate and throughout. And I thank you for that because that's who I am naturally. And when you have other examples of that sort of leadership, it allows others' leadership styles to flourish in the same vein. I'm sure it's not easy to be a maverick in that way, but it's a great thing to be a maverick in a way that serves people and puts people first. I'd love to shift a little bit to a little bit of what you have done in the legislature from some of the causes that you have championed. You're not known just for legislation, but for showing up for food giveaways, service days, advocacy. Why is community engagement and presence such a critical part of your leadership approach?
Yeah, you know, I look at this job, and you said earlier, it's not about the title. Some people sign up for these jobs to be something, and the title is everything to them. It's who they are. I believe in signing up for a job to do something, right? What are we here to do? What are we here to accomplish? And in many ways, I tell folks I'm not a preacher in church. I don't have a pulpit in a church, but this is my ministry, right? I do my ministry in this role, and I serve the community in this role. And it's all connected to knowing your why and why you do what you do. I honestly believe that if you're doing this role the right way, the proper way, you're not sitting behind a desk, you're out in the community, you're serving people, you're listening to people, you're finding out. You know, it's tough out there right now. What's going on in our country and our government, it's getting harder and harder for people to get by. And I want to talk to people and say, how can we help you today? How can, in my role and the little bit that I can control, how can we make life a little bit easier for you? And the only way you're going to do that is getting out there in the community, talking to people.
And I think that approach, your personal approach to how you represent your district, has spread to your members. CMS has, over the last few years, we've been very focused on meeting the people where they are. I feel like a broken record. I say that. I say it to the team. I say it in our probes. I say it to your members. I say it because I believe it. And we have had such an uptick in your members reaching out and saying, we want you to come to our district. Come on, let's do a hiring event. Okay, well, I don't have any jobs. Let's explain to them when you have jobs what to do. Let's get ready. Just the idea that 5 years ago or 8 years ago, we were not engaged with your members in that way. And the only way we can serve community is to meet the people where they are. And so in your leadership, just know that they are out here on their own saying, what can we do? Can you bring all the agencies here? Bring the people to where their jobs are. And what can we do to help?
That's right.
And that allows us to actually really make the incremental change. We're always looking to recruit and retain a diverse workforce at the state. I'm proud to say one of my priorities when I interviewed with the governor to take this job, it was not only increasing the workforce, but it mattered to me what it looks like.
That's right.
Our workforce should mirror the state of Illinois, and we've made quite a lot of progress, and a lot of that is as a result of legislation that you have supported, and your members have supported, but also in allowing us to resource us appropriately to be able to get out into the communities, because the state didn't recruit before, and so we had to change how we got people into the state. And our approach is we're going to get the best possible candidate from the widest, most diverse pool. In your opinion, how can state government better cultivate and support the next generation of Black public servants and policy leaders? What advice might you give them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I will tell you, I have been out intentional about visiting barbershops, visiting places where they don't expect a politician to walk into, right? And I'm asking folks, how do we get you more involved? And, do you vote? And you'd be surprised at how many times folks have told me they don't vote because they don't believe their vote matters. They don't believe that either party cares for them. And so I think, what we need to do is go meet them where they're at, get out there, talk to them, listen to them, and show them how state government actually can help make their lives better. We can't wait for them to come to us. They're not going to go on a website and see a job offer. Sometimes we got to get out there and go out there and talk to them about what the offers are, the opportunities that exist.
They will speak to a human.
They will, and this AI stuff, technology is okay, but we're not going to be replaced.
Sure.
And we have to get out there and we have to do the work. I tell the caucus all the time, winners do the work. And if we're going to make a difference in these roles, particularly people like us, we actually have to be out there and be, boots on the ground and take this into the community. We have to go beyond the walls of the office.
Sure. It's interesting, barbershops. That's pretty cool. There's a totally untapped market, but also an unfiltered. You get the unfiltered truth there.
I'm getting some real conversation.
I know I have a 6-year-old son, and every now and again when my husband can't take him to the barbershop, mom goes, and I'm like, oh, this is what the barbershop is like. But every time I'm in there, the conversation of the state of our community, what we need to be doing, honestly, it's a little political. It is nothing but politics, but we don't frame it like that,
right.
But we are talking about everything that you do every day to make Illinois better in a very small microcosm. So whether or not we're able to make a convert and bring them on and give them resources, at the very least, you get to hear what the people are saying in a way that you can take back and be responsive. I did not know that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. We advertise some I don't. You just like to show up. You want to get that authentic conversation.
Sure. I always say I can't fix what I don't know is broken.
Yeah.
As we celebrate 100 years of Black History Month, where do you hope to see the state in the next 100 years?
Well, first of all, I hope it's still here. What we're seeing is unprecedented. And I believe that we're going to be fine, but we're going to need people to participate in our process. Service means action. It means getting off the couch and being actively involved in what we do. And if our state's going to be around and continue to thrive and get better every day, we need people to get involved. We're not going to always agree, but that's part of the process, right? And if we're going to be around in 100 years and be better than where we were today, it's going to take all of us working together. And I'm a firm believer that we're going to get through this, what we're dealing with right now, and Illinois is going to be here. It's going to be better. I hope there's more Black speakers, more Black directors of CMS, more diversity in all of state government, and that it continues to look like the state that we know it is.
We often use the U.S. Census to kind of be our guiding light to see, how is it that our workforce aligns with the census.
Mm-hmm.
That's our best data point. What I will say for my vision for the next 100 years of the state is that people of color, Black people, we're represented, but are we in decision-making roles? Do we have appropriate succession planning? It's important to me that we have a plan for you to keep going, to keep leading, to not just stay. Certainly we want to get you in, but we want you to continue to progress. And the reality is our workforce looks the way it does because of systemic challenges that you and I continue to combat. But I want, if the state's workforce can truly mirror that of our residents in every Illinoisan. There are other things that I would add, but when it comes to CMS and our core business, that's my guiding star.
I love it. I mean, and it starts with us. We're in these opportunities, and what we do while we're in these opportunities really means something. This year, I'm working off of Atomic Habits. Last year, when I say this year, this General Assembly, the
Sure.
104th General Assembly, we're working off of Atomic Habits. It's tiny changes and creating systems that's going to make you better. I'm going to be long gone as speaker one day. I want to be able to look up and say, this is happening because of some tiny change that we made in 2025 or 2026. And 100 years from now, the state is got people in these powerful positions because of the things that we were able to set up
Sure.
while we were here.
Atomic Habits, I got to look that one up. A couple of years ago, I gave my staff 212 degrees because water boils at 211. But that one extra step, that one extra degree, and it's a whole book of small things that people have done that get to the 212th degree. We don't have to eat the whole elephant. We just got to do one thing every day. That's a little bit more than we did yesterday to build on that, to get to boiling. And when water boils, you get steam. And when you get steam, that can power a locomotive.
Hello.
That is Atomic Habits. It's the same sort of mantra.
Yes.
I love that. What's your superpower?
You talked about authenticity as a superpower. I like to say my calm. I can typically be in a room and everybody's getting freaked out, and I'm just calm. I'm observing. I'm taking it all in. Now, don't get me wrong. I can get worked up a little bit every now and then. But to me, I would say my calm and knowing how to respond in times of crisis. That's very important.
That is an incredible talent to be able to do, particularly in your role, because the world is always on fire in your world.
There's a daily crisis.
Sometimes it really is on fire. But to be able to be, and you exude calmness. You absolutely do. Sometimes it feels like you're like gloating along, and I'm like, I know he just got out of a very tense meeting, and it's like tranquil, and it's always, can I do anything for you? And I'm thinking, well, no, sir. Thank you, but I think you got your own thing, and I can appreciate how I hope that spreads to people around you. I committed to my team this year that I would try and be as even as possible, because that allows us. My theme this year is ASAP. Sometimes it's as sustainable as possible, as steady as possible, as sincerely as possible, but I want to allow space and pause. Because when we allow that, when we perfect the pause, we are able to set the right strategy, see all the players, all the ways that we can move forward. That is not naturally necessarily how I am, but I understand that a sustained pathway to progress lives in calmness. I'm following you. I get it. I always like to ask, like, just off the cuff kind of questions. I'm going to get you in trouble with a couple of them. First, would you backpack in terms of a vacation? Choose a backpack, a beach, or a cruise?
It's interesting that you asked that question, because my wife and kids would like to backpack. And typically on a vacation, we end up backpacking. And all I want to do is lay at the beach.
Okay. All right. So we know what you want. But a true servant, the wife and kids get what they want.
I'm bringing up the rear, but I'm out there backpacking.
How do you take care of yourself?
Yeah.
You are always speaker. But when you're not speaker and when you're in your alone time, how do you take care of yourself?
I think it is so important that you take time for yourself. There's another book out there, if folks have time to read it, if they had never read it, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And they don't get to it until the end. You got to get to the best part at the end. And they say, like, the 7th and most important habit is rest. You have to recharge. I got to take time to recharge. That's, if I'm tired, if I'm hangry, if I'm angry, exhausted, I'm not good to anybody. And so I think it is important to take the time to yourself. Even if it's not a vacation, take a day, take a mental health day, read a book. But for me, I try to work out 4 or 5 times a week, every week. For me, that's extremely relaxing for me, just taking that hour to get some exercise in. I feel like I'm in better shape now as speaker than before I was speaker because I'm more intentional about it. With all of the things coming at me in this role, I have to be mindful of taking care of myself. I'm proud of that. I'm intentional about it, and people see it.
Oh, absolutely. You can't pour from an empty cup.
You cannot.
And if you allow, particularly you, there's somebody wants something from you every second of the day. And so you have to spend that time and pour into yourself because the demands won't get any lighter. But how you respond and how you're able to continue. This is a marathon. It's from, I know because I see it. A lot of people don't know from January to May, you are physically in demand in addition to your mental demands. And then from June to December, you are in demand nonstop as well. It just, you get to have a little bit of physical distance from it, but
Exactly.
the mental engagement never leaves. And certainly, as a Black man, I don't have to tell you about health outcomes for men your age in our area. They are lower traditionally than anyone else. And so I'm very happy to hear that you take your physical health. Because also there's some strength building, not just these muscles, but the heart and mental muscles are built there. And the discipline, the commitment to yourself.
Yes.
And
it takes discipline. You have to choose you.
Absolutely, because if you haven't chosen you can't help somebody else. I'm a Southsider, so I have to go here. Uncle Remus or Harold's?
I'm a Harold's person.
Oh, yay! I
Harold's
love
person.
that. I love it.
I can't get with Uncle Remus.
I love it. The sauce is a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. I was not expecting that answer.
Yeah. See, can't judge a book by its
no,
cover
I
now,
can't. So see, you got me. But I knew I was gonna hold strong. My mom is from the West Side, and so, but she's lived on the South Side 54 years of her. I won't say her age because she would get mad. But she would say, well, I like Harold's, but for you, I gotta say Remus. I'm like, no. Say it with your chest. You like Harold's. It's okay.
I will tell you this. I like to tell folks I'm a kid from the woods.
Okay.
Maywood and Bellwood.
All right.
In Maywood, we just got a Harold's, and it stays busy.
Oh, I love it. I love it. One more question. What is your charge to us, to your constituents, to your partners in the legislature, to Illinoisans?
I think, first and foremost, know your why. If we wake up every day and know our why, know our purpose for being, why we do what we do, you're going to go out and make a difference in somebody's life. And I tell my kids every day, especially when I get a chance to drop them off at school, they get out of the car, bye, Dad. I'm like, go be great. Go be you. Go be a leader, not a follower. Go make something happen today.
Speaker, thank you so much. I have to tell you, the last thing I say to my son every morning, go be great. We have our affirmations, but I say, go be great. A lot of times parents kind of look at me, and at first I felt like I was maybe putting too much pressure or because like, why are you looking at me? I'm just telling my son to go be great. You just affirmed for me that absolutely I should continue to loudly tell my baby to go be great.
You got to speak that into existence.
Because also when
if
I'm
they
telling
believe it,
him,
they'll achieve it.
Absolutely. Because when I tell him that, I'm also telling myself that. A lot of times I'm trying to hype him up, but really I'm trying to make sure that I'm prepared to go out and do what I need to do for the day.
Well, you're doing a good job. Thank
you so much. This has been an amazing conversation. It affirmed so many things for me personally. A lot of our staff, my staff here, they know these things are actually true, so thank you. One other thing I want to say, we always celebrate important months at CMS because we intend to be a model for the state. But this is the first time we've done an interview with anyone, certainly, and to have it be the speaker of the House of Representatives, you don't know what that means to me and certainly our staff. We knew that 100 years of Black History Month, we couldn't let it go and not do something really great. And I want people to know that literally I said, will you? He said, absolutely, let's just make it work. No question about it. Didn't even have many details. And I thank you for being a present and available man of your word. That allows us, you are integral in us moving forward. And you are a model for so many people that you don't even know. And so please continue to be who you are. And if ever we can be of service, we are certainly here, and we endeavor to help you move the state forward. We thank you for your partnership, for your leadership, and for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for being great and being who you are and being an example of others to follow. I think it's so important for us to be in these roles and be successful. Another thing we talked about is if they see it, they believe it. And if they believe it, they can achieve it too. And so you call, I'm here.
Thank you for joining me for this conversation, Speaker Welch. I'm Raven DeVaughn, Director of the Illinois Department of Central Management Services. To learn more about our agency, visit cms.illinois.gov.